As I said, my name is Sidney Icarus. I work with Waxwings Games. I'm a game design consultant. I've done about 10, 15 years in the military and healthcare doing applied game design. And I'm here to talk to you about uncertainty and how players evaluate that uncertainty. Everyone has their game. Their game they have 200,000 hours in, and this is mine. This is an XCOM 2 mutant. This is an XCOM 2 soldier. When the soldier shoots the mutant, the player gets a shot analysis screen. It says I have an 85% chance to hit. I shoot. I miss. The mutant charges me and kicks my head off. And the question is, what's the player's response when uncertainty like that bites them? I found this a lot in fighter pilot world when like a missile fails to fuse during a simulation, and this is usually what we get from the players. Keywords here are things like, I am being punished for situations for which I'm not responsible, and it's called a loss of faith in the model. It happens when the player's expectations and the outcome don't align. You may have seen it look something like this. It's usually followed quickly by a quick load or a crash to desktop, because players can't engage with systems that don't align with their internal models. This is the problem. When a player sees 85%, they think, well, this is close enough to certain, and they assign it to 100% in their mind. Then there are 15%, 15 outcomes in 100 outcomes, where the player is rejected from the game. This is the solution that Firaxis have come up with for XCOM, which is we lie to the player. It's not 85%, it's 95%. And now instead of 15 outcomes, or 25, well, I'm not a dev. Instead of 25 outcomes, there's now 10 outcomes. And those, that reduces the number of outcomes that reject the player from the play experience. I want to talk to you about another methodology, and this is the methodology that I used late in my career in the military. My first playtester for this methodology was Air Commander Australia, and we managed to operate a several-tiered strategic play experience that kept people engaged, whether they were strategic leaders, fighter pilots, maintainers, everyone involved in our simulation. And that was, from about 75%, we assumed success. At about 15%, we gave them a certain failure. In the middle, it was completely unpredictable, 50-50. Then we had, yeah, this will probably be fine. And at the end, it could happen maybe, but like maybe it's worth a shot. And this is how players actually engage with probability. They bucket it into heuristics. One thing to note is that it's not symmetrical. At 75%, a player is like, I should have this. At 16%, they're like, no, I can still succeed. This layout changes as players become more and less expert. A junior fighter pilot can accept maybe 85 to 90% as their certain success threshold. A senior fighter pilot will not accept a failure when they have a 70% chance of success. They are that certain of their own performance. So these are actually the outcome methodologies that we used. You'll notice, again, not symmetrical. On the this is going in my favor, players should succeed 3 times out of every 4. On the this is a long shot, players should succeed 1 time out of every 3. This kind of probability invites your player in. It doesn't ask you to lie to them, to mislead them, to try to trick their brain. All it does is gives them a set of outcomes that they can understand and engage with. And the methodologies for how you calculate and whether you use matrix angles, other more like modern techniques, asset liability techniques, there's a million different versions of how you allow players to manipulate the uncertainty. But if you keep them in these buckets, your players won't fall out of the model. They won't reject from it. You won't have to overcomplicate it in the back end by hiding information from them. This leads to what's called a credible narrative. At the end, the player will look at the play outcomes and say, yes, this is something that could have happened. This is something that I believe is an accurate representation of my gameplay experience, and therefore, I am responsible for the outcomes, even when your soldier gets their head kicked off. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I do a bunch of work on conceptual probability, on human interaction, human-centered design. Any questions at all, please come see me. I'd love to have a chat with you. Thank you.